One of the most useful things I've had in the past year of working from my truck camper intermittently is the Alfa Networks Wi-Fi Camp Pro. And basically it's a Wi-Fi amplifier. So signals that were weak before, I can suck in stuff that normally my laptop wouldn't receive, or would receive so weakly that it would be very sporadic. This really helps and just gives me a huge amount more flexibility while not using cell data. This is one of my favorite spots right here. Really great access to skiing. And you can see the antenna on the roof, but then across the street, not that far, I mean 200, 300 feet away, is a Wi-Fi access point. The Alfa has a antenna on it that really brings in that signal. So I actually upgraded to a directional antenna. So it's the square one versus the round one, which is omnidirectional. So I know where things are coming from. And then the other really nice thing about the Wi-Fi is that it has a camera screw mount. So basically on the back, you can screw in any kind of tripod, etc. that you want. So it makes it way easier to mount on things. They also include zip ties that you can use on the sides, but I really like this quarter inch mount. But the other cool thing is where it mounts. So for instance, you have the external antenna, but you can also mount the internal repeater in a convenient place. For me, this was sort of in the systems bay up in the front of the camper. So I've got the water tanks empty because it's winter. But it actually mounted quite neatly. So you can see the little USB cable going out there. And then I also have the DC cable. That's the other cool thing about it, is it's really definitely thought of for RVs because it has a DC power supply as opposed to just AC. And it just works when you turn it on. So it's not actually plugged in right now. So I'll show you in a second. You can backtrack through the messy wiring to where it plugs in. So this way I don't have to take the cover on and off because that would be pretty painful. And then I just have the plug that I have to plug into my inverter here, which the DC is always on. So that's super useful for me. The inverter is another mod that I did that has been quite useful. So okay, plugged it in. And then it fires right up. And I don't have any footage of it, but you have a configuration page that you go to. It's not the simplest in the world, but it works. You do need to know passwords for the Wi-Fi. It doesn't always remember them. The one thing I did note when I was early on was I had issues with dropping networks, and I was wondering if this was the power supply. The cable that was included wasn't that great. So what I did is I bought as nice of a long USB cable as I could with the idea that I'd have as little power drop as possible. And it seems to have worked. So it really has been worth it to upgrade to that. I still will get a drop connection every now and then. Sometimes it can be grumpy, especially when you're video conferencing, because that sort of places the most stress on it. But yeah, that cable plugged into the bottom is super useful. So anyways, I thought it'd be kind of nice to actually see it in the wild because you have lots of sort of unboxing videos, but this has just been incredibly key for me. I mean, I've used it all over. It's super convenient. It mounts well. It really helps me extend my Wi-Fi and suck in what I need to in order to get my job done. So anyways, that's an update.